Hello everyone. In today's Computer Networks Lab class, we will discuss about Program 5. Program 5 is to implement and study the performance of GSM on NS2 or NS3 using MAC layer or equivalent environment. We will be implementing and analyzing the performance of the GSM on, I'll be experimenting it with NS2. So what is GSM first of all? GSM stands for Global System for Mobile Communication. We all have heard about GSM, right? We use GSM SIMs. So we know our mobile communication is actually dependent on GSM. So what is this actually Global System for Mobile Communication? See, GSM is a standard, okay, developed by European Telecommunication Standard Institute, that is ETSI. So what is this for? This is to describe the protocols for second generation, that is 2G, okay, 2G digital cellular networks used by mobile devices such as could be mobile phones and tablets, okay. So this is a 2G standard. GSM stands for Global System for Mobile Communications. Now let us see the block diagram, a simple one. How does it look like? We just take it could be these two or some mobile phones, it could be anything. There is actually any source or any destination can act like either source or destination. Could basically these two are nodes, okay, which are actually can work on GSM. So I've just named this one as the initial source and it's coming this way and last point. Anyway, it can change, right? Because if this is sending, then this becomes the source and this becomes the last point. And I have base station 1 and base station 2. There are two base stations, and if at all, if they are far, I'll use in between mobile stations also. See, for example, if I'm sending data from here, it will first go to base station and it will check which base station it can send to. If it is not nearby, then it will use in between mobile stations to reach the actual base station where the intended destination is attached. The same way whenever it is going from here to here. This is the high level block diagram. Now let us see the code on how to implement this. Actually in NS2 we have many predefined functions. It's actually simple to implement the GSM in NS2. Let us see the code. Set stop 100. Here actually I am setting the stop time. That means here it means that we will be completing the simulation in 100 seconds. Okay. So next, setting up the topology, set type GSM. We know we are implementing GSM here. So the network type or link type of link is GSM. And next, AQM parameters. AQM is nothing but active queue management. Okay. AQM stands for active queue management. So here I have minimum threshold, maximum threshold, and also adaptive. I am setting adaptive as 1. So what is this one? 1 means 1 for adaptive RED and 0 for plain RED. So this is different queue variation. So I will be using 1 here. Then traffic generation. So I am setting flow as 0. I'll be later I'll be referring to these variables. Okay, flows. This is 0 here. That means number of long-lived TCP flows. Okay. Then window is 30. This is nothing but window for long-lived traffic. So yeah, next comes plotting statistics. So these three things I need later, okay, for plotting the graph. What and all I have opt wrap as 100. Okay, I will let you know later on what are these things for. And then opt source trace, that is for the first one. Okay, IS, and then opt the destination trace. These two are two different trace files. Okay, so till now all the previous programs that we saw, right, they all have trace files as .tr, the normal trace files that we have seen, right? Whereas these 2G and 3G generate, right, wherever we are using this 2G and 3G, they do generate web trace files. These are all the web trace files that we are referring to. Okay, because these 2G and 3G, right, these technology work with help of application layer protocol. Could be example HTTP, right? So they directly connect with the internet, so hence they generate these web trace files. Okay, so because of these two files, we need to specify some path in this program. We are hard coding a path. I'll let you know later point of this program what are those paths and why do we need that. Now it is clear, right? This is one these three things anyway we will revisit and I'll explain these things. Clear? So next is set BWDL. What is this BWDL? It is the bandwidth, downlink bandwidth. So downlink bandwidth I am setting it as 9600, and then downlink propagation delay. Whenever you are downloading anything, what is the propagation delay? That is 0.500. These two things I have actually set it here. So next comes, as usual, I am creating the simulator class. That is set ns new simulator as usual, and this is the normal trace file. So we use both this trace file as well as the web trace file that I discussed previously. So yeah, and here is my node. I am creating a topology here. So yeah, next we are creating the nodes here. Set node is. Is is nothing but initial source. That means this is the sender node here. And next I am creating mobile station, and next comes base station 1. These are all the intermediate base stations. So base station 2 I am creating the next one, and the LP is nothing but the last point. That means from here to you will go. That's what flow is equal to 0 that we are setting it as. Here we did set that one, right? Flow is equal to 0. Flow 0 means from here to here we consider it as one flow. Okay, this is one flow we are considering it as, from initial source to last point through base stations and then the mobile station. Okay, so these things are done, and next we are actually setting up the cell topology. Okay, so what are we doing here? I am setting up a variable ns nodes, and then I am here as usual I am declaring the links here. Okay, we know this, right? We have already discussed it has 7 parameters. So these two things are actually interchanged. Okay, anyway, in both the ways it is same only. So LP to base station 1, right? So here I have one link, and then now base station 1 to MS, base station 1 to MS I have another link, MS to base station 2, from here to here I have another link, and base station 2 to IS. Base station 2 to IS. Okay, so I have set up all the links, and I know here, right, I'm using 7 different parameters here. What are they? So this one anyway, this $ns is the SIM class, and then type of the link. Okay, source node, destination node, and then bandwidth of that link, and simulation time as well as the queue type. So these are all the 7 parameters I'm using. I have set up 7 links. These lines are missing. Please assume the links between these two, as I do not have that diagram here. So I'm just using this rough sketch, and then I'm printing GSM cell topology. Okay, so this what I'm printing it as GSM cell topology. Okay, next I have a procedure, set link params. I will need this further. Okay, I'll just explain that here itself. What am I doing here? I'm actually defining all the link parameters. Okay, so link parameters anyway I'm setting this way, global variables here, ns, nodes, downlink bandwidth, and then propagation delay. So ns anyway I'm having this syntax here, you might have to remember it. So bandwidth and node from to node, and then what is the bandwidth, and what it is actually of type duplex. Okay, here I am setting it up for 4 links, 4 different links that I have discussed, and next I am actually setting the queue limit. I am just setting it to 10. BS1 to MS and then BS2 to MS. These two queue limits I am setting it as 10. Next what I have RED and then TCP parameters. So what am I doing here in these RED and TCP parameters? See, in this queue class, this type of the queue here I am using is RED. So I am setting adaptive as $adaptive. Okay, these are all actually here I am assigning the values, okay, because I have defined all these things. Do you remember? Adaptive, I have set it as 1, the top. Yeah, I have set adaptive as 1, right? And then minimum threshold, maximum threshold, everything I have here. And then these values, right? Minimum threshold, maximum threshold, and then window value. Window I have set it as 30. So I am assigning all those values here. Yeah, adaptive I know because I have adaptive 1, I am assigning that value here. Minimum threshold is 0, I am assigning it. So maximum threshold just now we saw, I am assigning it, and window size also 30, I have already defined it, and I am assigning all those values here. Clear? So next, create topology. Here I have a switch type. So what is the type here? Do you remember? I have already declared that one. Dollar type means I'll take that value, right? What is the type here? See here, I have defined only one type, that is GSM. So it will be taking the value as GSM, my switch case. Switch type GSM, so it will pick this one. So it will exit. I have nothing, right? I have not defined anything. That means it will come here, right? If it is not, then it will actually, it will not continue here. So here it is GSM. I have anyway defined type as GSM. So it will come out of it. And then it is here I am actually calling the set link parameters for type GSM. What is my GSM? For type, what is my type? GSM, because I have defined it as GSM, right? We saw this here. So type is GSM, yes, and I have defined that. So what am I calling now here? Set link parameter type. So link parameter is the function we just saw here. Do you remember? Link params. T is nothing but GSM now. So for GSM I am setting up all these link parameters when I call that function here. So that function has been utilized here. Right, so that is done. After that, what am I doing? I am actually see, these are the two important objects. I am creating two important objects inside delayer layer. Okay, delayer layer. The delayer layer is the class, and inside that class I am creating two important objects. So after this, so this is nothing but insert delayer. These are the two objects I am creating it here. And next, set up forward TCP connection. I need to set up a forward TCP connection. If value of flows is equal to 0. Of course, I have already defined it as 0 only. Do you remember? Yeah, flows is actually set as 0 only. So of course that if condition is satisfied. Yeah, if flows is equal to 0, then what am I doing here? So this is actually going forward, right? This is the important code here. Pay more attention to understand this. So if this is equal to 0, yes, I get into this, and what am I doing here? Actually, I am creating the TCP connection. So TCP is the class SAC1. SAC1 is nothing but selective acknowledgement. Okay, so I'm using the TCP of type selective acknowledgement. Okay, I'm creating TCP1, and as usual I'm attaching it with the FTP. FTP is the type of the traffic I'm using, file transfer protocol, right? So I'm actually creating one TCP and I'm attaching it to LP as well as IS. IS is nothing but the initial sender and last point, right? Sender and receiver, and I am attaching it, and also I am attaching file transfer protocol to this particular FTP. That means now my TCP connection is done. I am using selective acknowledgement TCP connection here, and I have also attached the FTP. Okay, and next NS at 0.8. set FTP1 start. That means I'm starting the traffic at time 0.8. So that's it. This I'm done with this if condition. Next I have a stop procedure here. From here to here I have the stop procedure. So right after that, that's it. I'm just calling the stop procedure, and with the last line I am just running the whole simulation. Now what is inside this stop procedure? This is the very important thing for this particular program. So yeah, what is inside stop? Global nodes opt IRTF. Here I have declared it as global, okay, and then set wrap opt wrap. What is wrap? Do you remember wrap? I have defined it as 100. So opt of wrap is actually defined as 100. So this is actually for plotting the graph. Okay. So this is equal to 100 is nothing but, it's actually, you will take up to 100 values in the plot graph. Okay. You will take 100 values to plot the graph. So yeah, you have, and these two things I have told, right? These two are these web trace files. These two are web trace files which have been generated, and I have also mentioned that these two files need some special access and special handling. You cannot access as it is. Do you remember? Yes. So set SID. So wrap, we know I have defined it as 100. Okay, fine. Wrap, we get it as 100. And what am I doing? See, source trace and destination trace. These two are the web trace files, right? So I am just copying the content of that into SID. SID is for source trace file, DID is for destination trace file. So I am just taking the content of those two into source ID and destination ID. Clear? And then I have the regular trace file of the program, mlab5, right, .tr. So mlab5.tr is the trace file that I have created. You might have seen that initially itself I have started that trace file name here. I have opened that trace file, right? So in writing mode. So this is the normal trace file that we have seen till now. Okay. So I have wrap as well as SID, the DID, SID, DID are the source trace and destination trace. These two are the web trace files, and this is my normal trace file. Okay. So as I have told, I need these two files here. These two files, okay. So to plot the graph, okay, to plot the graph from web trace files, we need two important files, that is nothing but getCR and then raw2xg. I need these two files to plot the graph from the web trace files here. Okay, so we need this content of these two files, and we need the path. Okay, so we are hard coding the path of these two files here. So for you to get the file, maybe in your laptop if you have installed NS2 in different path or something like that, what you need to do, you need to just get into the root folder, maybe go to home of your Ubuntu or my computer, and search for var cn, okay, ns all in one, and whatever version you have, and then ns 2.35 bin, and then get crc. Just you will find that get crc file, getrc file. You just copy that file. Your content will be, it will not copy the content, it will actually copy the path of it. Just paste this here. If the program is not working, just check these two paths whether it is compatible in your system. Clear? So what am I doing? I am just setting these two variables with the path of the getrc file and then raw2xg file. I'll just show you how I copied these two during the execution of the program. Clear? And then what am I doing? I am executing. So value of getrc, that means I am taking the content of this file using this path, and then what is this s means? Minus s is nothing but the sender, right, for sender. And then SID is nothing but my source trace file. I'm giving that as the input for execution, and then minus d is nothing but the destination, right? Destination. So it is like getrc file, source trace file, source web trace file, minus d is nothing but destination, and then destination trace file, this is also web trace file, and then minus f is nothing but flow. My flow is 0. I've declared, right? That means end-to-end flow. So flow is 0, and then I'm also giving my, as usual, trace file, whatever I have. This one, right? This pipe and then backslash. This pipe and backslash is nothing but the second next line. This execution also applies to this particular line. That's what this pipe space backslash means. Execution is also applicable to this line. What am I doing here? For the second one, right? So $raw2xg is nothing but I am taking the value of this particular file from this particular path. So file content minus s is nothing but again the sender, right? And then 0.01. What is this minus m? M stands for messages. Okay, so M is actually messages, and then wrap we know, right? 100. I have already defined it as 100 in the top. Hope you saw that. Wrap is actually 100. What does this mean? It will go up to 100 values in the plot graph. Okay, these are all the plotting statistics. So it will go up to 100 values. So where was I? Yes, plot, and now I am also using the, yes, I have used all, right? So messages, what is my A here? A is nothing but this particular file, mlab5.trace, that I have set it as A, right? So this is A, S is sender, and this is time, and then M minus M is messages, and then wrap is 100. So I put all these things, I extract all these things into plot.xgr. Even here, I put all these things, right? So I am executing. What am I giving? I am taking the getrc file, source trace file, destination trace files, right? And then flow is 0, and then mlab5.trace file, the regular trace file I have taken. This pipe and then backslash actually indicates the execution also implied to these things. So raw2xg, with this I am getting the file from this particular path, and then minus is source, and then M is for messages, wrap I know 100, and minus R. Okay, I'm just putting all these things into plot.xgr. Okay, and in this one also I'm extracting again few more information, and I am putting it into plot.xgr. Okay, so now I am done with this. Next, what I have all the data in packets as well as time. I have both data in the plot.xgr file. So now my job is easy. I just go to this execute xgraph. I'll be using xgraph function. X axis is time, y axis are packets, and then plot.xgr. I'll just, whatever file I have .xgr file, I'll just give that as the input, and yeah, that's it. I'll exit from the stop procedure. Clear? So this is the one actually is printing the graph. Now let us see how does my graph look like. This is how the graph looks like. Okay, so the red color dots are actually the packets, and then the blue color dots are actually the acknowledgement. You can see that here, right? The blue one is acknowledgement, red color ones are packets, and these blue dots are acknowledgement. You can see how it is actually increasing. And yeah, so along with x-axis you have time, and here you have the packets, right? So why do you observe these gaps here? You can see the gap, right? Because your packets have been lost here. So in this gap your packets have been lost. So why is it happening? Because in 2G data transmission is actually not so continuous. Why? Because of course the available bandwidth is less, and also you face the propagation delay, higher propagation delay and lower bandwidth. That's why you are actually losing the packets here. The graph is not continuous. Clear? And as why are we receiving acknowledgements? Of course, we are using TCP connection, and hence we are actually getting the acknowledgements. This is how you analyze the output. Let us see the execution now, and yeah, I'll also be showing you how to copy those getrc files path. Okay, just pay attention. I have logged into Ubuntu. Let me open the terminal. Yeah, so I've already saved the program, so I'll just run that ns program phi.tcl, and as soon as you run, you will get the graph, this graph as the output. Okay, so let us see how to copy that file. Let me open the program here. I mean, copy those two paths that I have already explained, right? So let me check where I pasted this. I've opened the program. Okay, so the path comes somewhere down. Yeah, here it comes. So getrc and then this raw2. So these two files, right? Just go to home or computer. Somewhere in among these two only you will get this file. Okay, next var cn and then ns all. So what else? Var cn ns all and then ns 2.35, whatever version of network you have. Yes, ns 2.35. And next, what was that? Bin, right? Search for bin. Yeah, so here you have getrc file. Here you have the and then raw2 wg. So if you just right click and then give copy, you are copying the path of this file. It won't copy the content of the file or the file itself. It will just copy the path of the file. Now just go back and just paste whatever you copied. It will actually paste this address only. You have to paste it here if you are running it in your program or different system. Okay, or at least you verify. See here, I just pasted. It just pastes only the path. Okay, so you have to paste it within the double quotes. Same way you have to take it for raw 2wg. Okay, and paste it for that variable, the next line. Okay, this is how you have to copy these two lines. Okay, so basically wherever you have installed your ns2, could be in could be on like from home directory or my computer. Okay, yeah, that's it about the execution. Thank you.